It's Thursday, October 14th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Tourism officials are calling on lawmakers to take decisive action towards improving the doing of business environment in Barbados so that more locals can invest in the sector. They've also issued a call for a complete overhaul of the banking system to make it easier for local entrepreneurs to obtain funding to establish new businesses. Veteran hotelier Gordon Seal suggested that perhaps the time had come for a business to be put in place to help speed up turnaround times on certain applications and for the Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Office to become a private entity. Seal was speaking during a Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association webinar series.
I think the number one problem for business, the bureaucracy in business in Barbados, is that the people who are making the rules and who are enforcing the rules often haven't got a clue about what it is or how difficult it is to run a business. And we really need to make sure, I see the government goes out and hires economists and so on and so forth. We need to have I don't know if you want to call it a business czar, but that person, the number one requirement is that they must have started and set up a business exclusively on their own, run it and made a success of it. And it doesn't have to be a Bajan. It can be somebody from Africa. It can be somebody from the other Caribbean islands. It can be somebody from anywhere. But they need to be accomplished, and they need to be in a position to actually move the bureaucracy so that they can get the things done that need to be done.
Chairman of the Intimate Hotels of Barbados, Mahmoud Patel, also zeroed in on the issue of access to finance. He said that despite the billions of dollars in the local banking system, the difficulty in access funding was hindering critical investment from taking place. And he called on the Ministers of Finance, Tourism and Small Business and Entrepreneurship to have serious discussions about entrepreneurship and how it should be funded.
Now, we should start as a nation, as a country, to really look at entrepreneurship in Barbados and availability of funding, even if we put $50 million a year towards that. I don't think the money will be wasted because it will be put into the economy and the thing called circulation or velocity. The funds will be spent and it will create jobs. And of course, we have to set up mechanisms and safeguards and so on. But maybe this is a call out to let's have a serious discussion among our ministers and our governments to look at entrepreneurship in Barbados.
The COVID-19 pandemic, the looming climate crisis, and security were among the main issues discussed during one-on-one talks between Prime Minister Mia Mottley and U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris on Wednesday. The two leaders also acknowledged the 55-year-old diplomatic relationship between the countries and committed to deepening cooperation. Prime Minister Mottley also reiterated the need for COVID-19 vaccine equity to avoid the risk of more deadly variants emerging.
We face common threats together, and the world perhaps has never been more precariously placed in decades than it is now. And to the extent that we can cooperate and work together with respect to fighting the pandemic, for fighting the climate crisis, for fighting security threats, and for promoting prosperity as a basis for the engagement of all of us, then I believe that we can go forward. I'd like to thank, on behalf of not just Barbados, but the Caribbean community, the donations made by the government and people of the United States of America with respect to the vaccines. They were timely. We do, I'm hopeful, we will receive the others soon. This battle is real for us in the Caribbean, as I speak to you. And at the same time, we're conscious that there has to be vaccine equity across the world, because if not, we run the risk, as has happened with Delta and the other mutations, of other mutations coming to bear.
The Prime Minister also expressed concern about the looming climate crisis.
Similarly, we're also conscious that as we go to Glasgow, that there is a distinct risk, regrettably, that the world might not make the 1.5 degrees that we need to survive in the region. If that happens, then the conversation has to change seriously to be about adaptation, because we have to adapt to that new reality, which can literally be upon us anywhere from 12 to 20 years. And to that extent, therefore, you're dealing with a region that has been constantly evolving and constantly responding to one-size-fits-all prescriptions, from the establishment of the WTO that precluded us from being able to benefit from special and preferential treatment, to today, where on this climate crisis battle, we are on the front line, but as you quite correctly said, we're not responsible for causing it. What it has meant is that the absence of an understanding of what is needed for adaptation is going to hurt us, because time is of the essence now if the world passes 1.5 degrees. With respect to security, well, I don't need to say anymore. We're in the same neighborhood. And anybody who lives in the same neighborhood, whether it is in a village or a city or a state, we have to work together to keep each other safe.
The Ministry of Housing's assessments of damage caused by Hurricane Elsa and the freak storm earlier this year revealed that 541 houses are to be rebuilt across the country, with just over 600 structures requiring partial repairs. That latest update from Housing Minister Dr. William Duguid.
There are 541 houses to be rebuilt across Barbados based on all the assessments that we have done. Repairs, there are 421 wooden houses to be repaired and 225 wall houses to be repaired. What we found, in fact, because we did have higher numbers, but what we found, in fact, is that there were some duplicate entries. And there were over 350 duplicate entries. And once we took out those duplicate entries, the numbers came down in terms of the repairs. What we also found is that there were people that were in rental accommodation and people who had share shops and so on and so forth. And we really, at this time, are not in the business of repairing rental houses, because they are income generating for the landlord, or shops. So when we took those rental accommodations out and the shops out, as well as auxiliary structures, people complain or say that my pig pen had lost its roof and so on, or things like that. When we took out all of those are the numbers that we're fairly confident of, and those are the ones that we'll be working with going forward.
Minister Duguid also gave an update on the repairs that have been completed so far.
The National Housing Corporation so far has mobilized 39 contractors, and they've in fact completed 21 repairs so far. The Urban Development Commission has mobilized 28 contractors, and they've completed 8 repairs. And the Rural Development Commission has mobilized 28 contractors as well, and they've completed 4. So far, from a repair point of view, we've in fact mobilized already 94 contractors to be able to do the work for the repairs. For the rebuilds, the National Housing Corporation has mobilized 18 contractors, Rural Development Commission 32 contractors, and the Urban Development Commission 4 contractors, bringing a total of 54 rebuilds that have been mobilized and should be starting or have started soon. In addition, our greatest success story, and I keep saying it, is the number of people who've received materials. And what has happened is many people who are helping themselves, they make a list, we send it to National Housing Corporation, our QS and engineers go out and assess these repairs, these material lists, to make sure that they're appropriate and accurate. And we supply people with the materials. Now, over 140 people have done that and have benefited and have already repaired their house.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, my name is Michelle Thompson. I'm a visually impaired person. I am also a member of the National United Society of the Blind of Barbados. I am vaccinated. I took the vaccination due to the fact that I am diabetic, I'm asthmatic, and I also have high blood pressure. I had no side effects. Everything went calm and smooth, as my doctor said it would go. Please, people, go ahead and do the right thing.
Let's roll up our sleeves and get back to living.
To news from the region, Latin America and the Caribbean are on track to reach the World Health Organization's COVID-19 vaccination target of 40% before the end of the year. However, Director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, disclosed that 6 countries have yet to vaccinate 20% of their populations.
Our region has embraced vaccines, and 39% of people are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 across Latin America and the Caribbean. It is also encouraging to see that 26 countries and territories in the Americas have already immunized 40% or more of their populations. But that is not the reality everywhere. In far too many places, coverage is much lower. So today I want to spotlight those countries in our region that are lagging and that will require special attention to meet this 40% vaccination target. 6 countries in our region have yet to reach 20% of their populations. These are Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Haiti in the Caribbean, and Guatemala and Nicaragua in Central America. Across all these countries, vaccine availability due to unequal distribution of doses has been a central challenge.
And finally, the World Health Organization on Wednesday announced proposed members for its scientific advisory group for the origins of novel pathogens. The group will advise the organization on the development of a global framework to define and guide studies into the origins of emerging and re-emerging pathogens with epidemic and pandemic potential, including SARS-CoV-2. Here's Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove, who's the COVID-19 Technical Lead Health Emergencies Program at the WHO.
What we need this group to do is to urgently assess where are we in what we know and what we don't know and what urgently needs to be done. Following the last mission to China, there were more than 36 recommended studies that needed to be carried out. We hope to get an update on those studies as well, so that we can say, okay, here's what's next. So this advisory group will provide advice to WHO on those urgent next steps, and then WHO will work with any member state, including China, to carry out what needs to be done.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.